That's it. We're going down. So how did the algo optimizer do, and what's next for this market? This is crazy, right? So everyone's looking at this thing as the biggest one-day decline in history, pretty much, right? Apart from, or recent history. The algo optimizer, it's not going to be able to pick up every single trade. I mean, no trader can, and it's going to have some losers. It's going to have some winners. We're kind of proud of the way the performance was, especially today, right before the big crash. Yes, it went short. Why did it not continue to stay short? Well, one of the reasons it didn't stay short because it got outside of the normal parameters in the market environment in which we've been in. But how did it do today? That's the big question. Looking at performance today and just trading two lots. I mean, gang, I don't care who you are. Yesterday was a bad day. The day before was a great day. I mean, on average, this thing has had some really amazing trades. I don't know about you, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that, might be in put options, and I know a lot of active traders have been waiting for this big crash and waiting for the market to go down, but the mini Dow contract system trading two lots was up $4,600 today, and that's a great performance. And so, I mean, again, trading only certain markets with certain defined parameters. I think that's something that we all have to look forward to in this market event is volatility of price swings. And when you look at something that says, hey, I'm going to go long, immediately get out, but then go short and then take a nice profit. And when the profit targets hit, it takes the profit. Sure, I'd love to have had this thing remain short from a discretionary standpoint, but when you look at that type of volatility, it's hard to really, when it comes push to shove, predict when the exact bottom is going to fall out. But the moral of the story is it's nice to see that this thing took a few trades today and had an amazing performance. And the track record year to date on two lots, not too bad, up 24,000 and change, almost 25,000. So let's take a look at some other things and then go forward and see what can we expect for the rest of the week. All right, let's take a look at the weekly analysis here, and the weekly charts will share the story here. Worst performing from a advanced decline perspective would be, of course, the Russell. Funny thing is, see this green line here? That's the monthly person's pivot support. And as you can see with the S&Ps, we breached that level. It's already gone down, and it's come down to a longer-term moving average. So the key is, how much are we willing to say this market's going to go down? We were looking for a correction to go down, and we were looking for the market to come down and to buy certain stocks in weak sectors. And that's what we wrote about, and that's what we've done. Let's take a look at that for right now. All right, this is something that we share with our subscribers. Teva Pharmaceutical, we wanted to get in on a lower opening around 1926. Today it opened, it traded down to 1905. We were filled, and it shot straight up. We sent an email alert and said, trail your stop, place that stop at around 1982. And guess what? Took a nice little short-term lucky trade off Teva, and we'll look at that again. Twitter, I'm looking for a correction in the market. And so as we are looking for certain things to happen, this is the key, that if we're looking for a correction, I want to buy Twitter at lower prices. Now, that's a fictitious order for some people. There's no way the market's getting at 22.68. I get that. But in a market crash, maybe it will, and I want to be a part of that. Also, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. We also want to be looking at that. Hess, which had bad earnings today in the energy sector. I want to be in on that. And then Tractor Supply. I want to be in on that on a pullback. So where did we go with some of these stocks and our current positions? Well, quite frankly, we didn't get a fill. Acacia is a trade, if I even share this with you, gang. We're already in Acacia Communications. The stock was up 20 cents. We're in TripAdvisor. The stock was up $1.29, which is really weird today, right? Twitter, only down $1. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise at 15.66. Now, if I'm looking to buy Hewlett-Packard, we're filled at 15.93. So HPE, we were able to get that picked off at the low of the day. In Hess, 42.23, we didn't quite get there yet. Tractor Supply, we didn't get there either. So why would I even be looking at buying stock in this decline? Well, first and foremost, if you take a look at some of this analysis here, look at where we're trying to buy against the point of where this thing all broke out last October. Tractor Supply is a great company in the rural area, in the ag space, consumer discretionary. They're based out of Tennessee, and we'll be talking about this at the workshop that we're doing up at the Money Show in Las Vegas. Kellogg's. Now, Kellogg's is another one that did have follow-through weakness today, and Kellogg's is one that we're in, and I think that as long as Kellogg's maintains the weekly lows that we just established, I think we'll be okay with Kellogg's. 62.87 is our stop. We're in at 65.52, so taking a little heat on Kellogg's. But other than that, gang, I mean, I think for an overall marketplace, certain stocks will do better than others in this environment. Obviously, stuff like Amazon down 49. We did the today's morning briefing with TradeStation. We said if the market rallies back up into the 14, 47, 48 handle, we wanted to be put on some credit call spreads above the market. And guess what? I think people thought I was nuts to try to attempt at something like that. But we gave a specific idea because of the volatility in the market and to look for the market to get back up to around that pivot. And it happened today. So great idea there. And then the market kind of rolled over. All right, let's take a look at a few other ideas that we were looking at. All right, this is NVIDIA, and this is our algo optimizer, or our strategy that gets our predetermined entries and exits. And as you can currently see, the system did go short today and caught the downdraft. Now, NVIDIA has earnings, and this is stock trading. Of course, anyone can apply these signals to option strategy. So at this point, NVIDIA, my expectations of looking for, it did a really nice job. It went long. It got out the other day, and then finally we get this little sell signal right there, the low close doji, followed by a PPS, and then we see some downside. I'm gonna share this with you real quick. I'm not thinking that Tesla's doing much more than maybe with earnings coming out, and this is a tough call since the market just breached. We've got a zone of old support, which is this white line, and against a zone of old resistance, which is that gray line. And that intersects right around 200, and that's what we bounced off of today. So if we close underneath that level, if we find some pressure, 180 would be the next stopping point. Let's take a look at more technicals such as relative strength and volume to see how that measures up against using it with. Okay, what's really interesting is that while Tesla did go down, the relative strength went up because the equity overall indexes went down more so than Tesla. So that's what the relative strength shows us. So I'm thinking in the terms of Tesla, we're not going to see much more than maybe this line in the sand. Let's double check that one more time. So I was looking at Tesla NVIDIA originally and went to Tesla, but I mean Tesla at this point in time, it's kind of ironic. The system went short and it is flat. Tesla did not, relative to the overall market, did not underperform. It's got a pretty good, decent thing, but let's go and take a look at the advanced trading system on NVIDIA like we were talking about. My bad. Here we go. Lots going on. So here's our the irony of looking at Tesla. The relative strength still with Tesla, even though this is the person's market catcher. And exciting news for those who use Thinkorswim. It will be released on Thinkorswim. I think we're going to announce it at the Money Show. We want to give kudos and congrats out to Steve Quirk, Q, as many of you know him, with the introductory commercial to the Super Bowl with Lionel Richie. How phenomenal was that for all us Thinkorswim users? Wow, pretty cool, right? But here's where we were describing old support, and here's the resistance, and we come into that line in the sand. It's about what we bounced off of. The relative strength, the person's market catcher, while it is falling, it's still blue, which means the market is still strong. Volume analysis shows it was a little weak, so maybe we might get a little bounce in the video off of that 200 mark. It doesn't look that bad. So in the next day, ahead of earnings, as long as we hold 200, I suspect we could easily get NVIDIA back up to the 225 mark. So look for that. 225 would be my upside target as long as 200 holds, and that's what I think that we'll probably see with Tuesday's trade. Maybe a little bit more panic selling as it sets in day 3, Tuesday, and then we'll see what happens from there. But make no mistakes, we've seen market corrections, we've seen fat fingers, we've seen and lived through the crash of 87. The market does look pretty nasty, and when I say nasty, let's just take a look. This is these are weekly charts, and again, this is just Monday. The breadth of the market, let's change this over to a daily chart. Okay, so on a daily chart, we pretty much, it's going to be off the chart here. Let's take a look, try to get this in focus for you. You know, when I look at the advanced decline, I go, wow, it's just not as negative as it should be. So I think a lot of us need to maybe reevaluate if this market is more of a buying opportunity, and the indexes all came down because of the overweight large cap stuff just took a plunge, and are they now at more reasonable buying opportunities? So let's just take a look at that and go to our advanced trading system, and let's go up and down the screen and say, gee, here's Amazon. Boy, 3%. Look across the board, everything here. Goldman Sachs, 5%. These are just kind of stocks that we had as seasonal sells that were names that were overvalued, number one. Number two, we're coming into the year with bearish divergence in the relative strength and volume. So this is Mickey D's, McDonald's. And I mean, let's look at McDonald's. And I've been warning people, I don't know what day it's going to come, but the relative strength, as this stock kept going and making newer highs, it was diverging as well as the volume, meaning the relative strength was weakening. And so these were the ones that were susceptible for the major sell-off, and those are the ones that got liquidated and puked out. So I think in the next day or two, the long tail in McDonald's, right back to 155. We only went right back to where we were in September and bounced right back up. So this looks like maybe a washout. If by Wednesday's close we're sitting a little higher than we are right now, I think we lived through a little correction in the marketplace. So we'll keep you posted because it's important. I thank everyone for reviewing this. And again, this is TradeStation, and this is my Algo Optimizer settings that we have available for a few licenses for people. But this tool is, of course, the person's market catcher, which will be available shortly on Thinkorswim. So with that said, I wish everyone a good night. And again, I'm very proud of how the system traded on our mini Dow contract. I'm pretty proud of how it's been handling a lot of these trades, whether it be Apple, the longs, the shorts. Profit target got out, left a little money on the table. That's okay. It's still a pretty decent setup. The mini Dow I've been following. You guys have been following me with this. I mean, overall performance has just been pretty stellar. And I know that a lot of people would say, gee, we could have done better today. But, the fact remains, there's a lot of people that didn't do better today. And to walk away with just 2 lots, and yes, we can increase the lot size, and I said this before in prior videos. Over time, months of profitability, then you increase the lot size. Let's see this thing, how it works in this fresh environment of insane volatility, or this great level of volatility. Thanks, everyone.